Hey there, so today we have another review. This is unfiltered wheat beer. Well, I think the beer is called unfiltered wheat. This is from Boulevard, and this is a pretty popular one from what I understand. This is, I forget what podcast I listen to, but it's one of those, like, just random facts in Darwin's brain about beer because of podcasts. Apparently in Kansas City, this beer just absolutely crushes on draft. I don't know the numbers. I guess, like, the best analogy I could think of is like Anchor Steam, I guess, crushes out in California, or specifically maybe, I think San Francisco, maybe. Great example would be Spotted Cow, New Glarus, crushes it in up in their market. So from what I understand, this beer is a crusher in Kansas City. So I've never tried it before. 4.4% hazy, unfiltered ale, wheat ale. Let's see why this guy is so popular. Well, obviously, it's accessible and blah, blah, so probably that's the reason. But, oh, wow. This doesn't seem like a beer that'd be such a good seller. I mean, it really looks like a hazy pale ale. Doesn't look like a, unfiltered wheat, yeah. Yeah, looks like a hazy pale ale. Looks a little bit like Wit beer, a little bit lighter than Hefeweizen. Maybe a little darker than a Wit beer. Wit beer is very, like, sometimes milky and very, very pale. This comes in a light gold color, so it's like in between somewhere. So it really does remind me of like a pretty good looking, like, hazy IPA or hazy pale ale. Not completely opaque, medium to medium plus haze to it. Pretty nice looking beer. Okay. So I looked it up. They use an English ale strain on here, so that you don't get the familiar characteristics of like a Wit beer or Hefeweizen. It doesn't have like the esters and phenols. I get a little bit of hoppiness. I get a little bit of like light fruitiness, like maybe it's the wheat. There's like a little bit of like this kind of like doughy character that comes in. I don't have a canning date, which is surprising. No canning date on this guy, hell. Yeah, just like mostly just clean yeast fermentation profile, light doughiness, a little bit of grainy malt character. Nothing too specific. Yeah, okay. So, wow. I guess sort of makes sense why it's so popular. I'm surprised it's just wheat in here. It has, like, strangely enough, like a corny kind of flavor to it. So it does actually remind you a little bit of macro lager, which is strange. You get a little bit of viscosity. 4.4, it's got a good amount of character for 4.4. 4.4, I think of super watery, because 4.2 you get Bud Light. Has a little bit of watery quality to it, but there's a little bit of this like light viscosity. I guess the wheat helps proteins. But it has like, maybe it's not the freshest example. Has a little bit of maybe a tired hop character to it. But the thing I sort of taste is this kind of like a dry, grainy thing that I usually don't get in craft beers. It specifically reminds me of macro lagers where there's this kind of like, it's almost corny flavor, right? Even though like Bud doesn't use corn, but there's just this macro lager kind of like adjunct thing that sort of hits the back end. And here it's wheat, which wheat ideally has a more crafty flavor, right? Wheat, sorry, Rocco's running out. Wheat, I associate with Wit beer and Hefeweizen. Here I would have guessed it was corn or something, full blind. But obviously it has like a chill haze to it, or a protein haze to it from the wheat. Okay, I see it. It honestly is like a very confusing beer in the sense that like it doesn't look like what it tastes like. It really full blind, I would have guessed like some kind of macro lager, maybe. Like, that's why I try to close my eyes and think about it. So wow, it has this like a little bit of like corny sweetness too. Like there's just like this hint of sweetness that is like more than just, like, again, I don't associate that sweetness with like craft beers. So there's multiple little things that sort of make me think of macro lager. And like the crazy thing is that literally that's what Spotted Cow does so well. New Glarus Spotted Cow. When I had it for the first time, it's like, okay, yeah, like they call it blah blah blah, and like this is how they make it. But then like it's like, oh, really? Like a non-discerning palate, like very much associated with macro lager, and that's why it sells so well. That literally is why this beer sells so well. It's called unfiltered wheat beer, but it tastes nothing like an unfiltered wheat beer. Because again, unfiltered wheat beer, I associate with Wit beer, Hefeweizen. I think of more flavor characteristics. I think of orange peel. I think of bananas. I think of more mouthfeel, more carb, all this other stuff. And closing my eyes, not looking at the haze, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's like a macro-y kind of beer, right? Like that's so weird. You guys let me know if I maybe have like a bad example. Maybe it's not that fresh. Maybe there's more character to it. but it's got this like light grainy sweetness, maybe a little bit of viscosity on the mouth from the wheat, but it's got this like corny sweetness, and then that like almost like metallic-y kind of thing that I get from like macro lagers on the back end. Dry. It does have a little bit more flavor for 4.4. Like at 4.4, like I expect super watery like Bud Light. This drink's like Bud Heavy, like at 5%. But yeah, it does these little things that like sort of make you think, oh yeah, that's my Coors, you know, or my Miller. Interesting. Rating. I mean, you give it points for having just a little bit more character and mouthfeel. For just, you know, at 4.4%, it really, again, is doing so much more than Bud Light. So, it's fine. I mean, 83, sure. That's a B minus. Unfiltered wheat from Boulevard. Surprising that a craft beer just tastes so macro-y, but it does its job. It's pretty nice, yeah. With a citrus kick. What's a citrus kick? I mean, it's hoppiness, right? They don't actually put citrus in here. Maybe. Yeah, I maybe see a little light lemon rind on the back end, but again, I have no clue how fresh this is, so maybe a fresher can, you guys can tell me how good it is. So until next time, cheers. If you guys are from Kansas City, tell me about this beer. I mean, is this, from what I understand, that's a go-to for a lot of people. Until next time, cheers, later.